constitution, the name reservation was given. Now, what has happened that over the years, lot of confusion and lots of myth has surrounded around the policy of reservation. Lots of myth, lot of confusion, lot of misunderstanding has actually put it. Now, I will come to that, misunderstandings on reservation. One, the first misunderstanding is that it creates division in the society. It creates division on the basis of caste in the society. Now, if you look into, and you can argue this, that caste division, class division, gender division, tribal division already exists in the society. How is it going to divide the society further? The caste division existed before the reservation came. It is the only that reservation is giving representation. In politics, Baba Sahib replied to Gandhi, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. Now there are so many Gandhis, you can get confused. So I always say Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. Baba Sahib replied, because Baba Sahib was asking a separate electorate, and he said that how can you give separate electorate, it will divide society. Baba Sahib asked that voting once in 4 years and 365 days, that is voting once separately in 5 in 1 year. 1 in 5 years. 5 साल में एक बार अलग अलग वोट करने से डिवीजन कैसे हो जाएगा? आपको 4 साल 364 दिन साथ में रहने से किसने रोका है? Who has stopped you? You come together, intermingle, आप खाना खाइए, you eat food, you marry with them for 4 years and 364 days. Who has stopped you? Only voting once separately, you will divide the society. Therefore, it is farcical. Second, it is also said that reservation was for 10 years and it is being increased again and again. And very informed people, very informed anchors like Rajiv Sardesai, Ornab Goswami, and many great leaders have asked this, that it was for 10 years. And we also said that yes, it was 3 years, 10 years. First of all, I asked them where it has been mentioned in the Constitution of India that it is for 10 years. Article 335, there is no mention. Okay? Now in Article 330 and 332, it was mentioned that there will be a review after 10 years. The word is there will be a review after 10 years. That review does not mean that the reservation is for 10 years. You see how actually stigmatization of reservation takes place. If you read the term, there will be a review after 10 years. And that 10 years review is going on. There is nowhere it is written that reservation will be for 10 years in the Constitution. Nowhere. It was written only review. So you have to convert that where it is written. Which are education, there was no mention that there will be a review or not. In Panchayat, there is no written, nothing that there will be a review or not. Only Article 330 and 332, there was written that there will be a review. So that review does not mean that it was fixed for 10 years. Okay? This is another controversy, the other misunderstanding you should look into. The third misunderstanding. The third misunderstanding is that whether reservation should be based on economy or not. There should be economic basis for reservation or not. So the answer which we have evolved as a sociologist, it is that reservation is not a poverty alleviation program, which is Manrega. Manrega is a poverty alleviation program. If certain people are poor and they have to be uplifted, then there has to be a program and policy which is Manreka. Under poverty, APL and BPL, you are being given card, you are given job. That does not mean that they should be given reservation. They should be given scholarship if you really want to economically empower them. So you give them jobs as far as daily wages are concerned, you give them scholarships to actually give them economic power, but that does not mean that you give them reservation in civil services and politics. And it is here that you have to confirm. Why? Why it should not be? One, it is not poverty alleviation program. That means reservation was not made that people were poor. Reservation were not implemented because people were poor. Reservation was implemented because people were excluded. And they were excluded, cumulatively excluded. I use the term cumulatively excluded. That means they were not only excluded in one dimension, that was economy. They were cumulatively excluded economically, politically, educationally, religiously, and especially where they were allowed to live. They were supposed to live outside the village. And when they were living outside the village, that means even they were not allowed to take water from the main village. They had nothing. So, educationally, religiously, socially, politically, spatially, and therefore I call it as cumulative. And their history was of millennia. Their history of exclusion was of millennia. They were not excluded for a year or 10 years or 100 years. They were excluded for thousands of years. That is another. History of exclusion is of 1,000 years, not a 1 and 2. Third, that it is their exclusion is not individual, but exclusion was collective. The whole community was excluded, not a individual. No, it's not that Ram Bharose was included and Chandra Bharose was in. No, it is the whole community was excluded. So it was collective. Poor people may be individually poor, but his whole family member may be very rich. His other relatives will be poor, rich. But here we are saying that if we suffer stigma, we suffer because of collective nature, not individual nature. That is more important. Last but not least, the identity is unalterable. Once a Dalit, unalterable. Once a Dalit, he is a Dalit president. Second Dalit president of India. First Dalit president of India. First Dalit Chief Justice of India. A Dalit professor. A Dalit millionaire. What is this? If millionaire is millionaire. A professor is professor. Intellectual is intellectual. So this identity is unalterable also. And therefore, they needed a self-representation. It was not that they were poor. It was that they were cumulatively excluded for thousands of years, and because they suffered from community exclusion, which was unalterable. If a poor person is in one generation, he is poor, in the second generation he may be rich. But it is not necessary with the Dalit same way. He may be rich, but he is not accepted. Dalit Chief Minister of India or UP, you can go on and on adding this. So this is another confusion, that it cannot be based on economy because it is not on the Poverty Alleviation Act. It is self-representation.